Hi friends, this is Calpun Piso. I'm going to show you something that nobody seems to see, which is religious beliefs are a form of mental illness, and it's so obvious. And look at this. And people don't see it. Look at this.
I just want to encourage every one of us to realize when we obey God, we're not doing it for God. I mean, that's one way to look at it. We're doing it for ourselves. Because God takes pleasure when we're happy.
And these ChristPsychosis infected people, the Osteens, as all psychotic, all ChristPsychotic, religious psychotic people from thousands and thousands of years ago, all of them, they don't realize that the actual true God is the sun, is our star that gave us life. All cultures from 40,000 years ago, all of them, they all saw the sun as a god, the same thing as the planets. They were all gods, and because it creates life. But the sun also, the rays of the sun god, were also equated to our penis that creates, and the lady's breast milk, the shoots milk, this is like a semen, was also sacred. So the women, they were equated with Venus, but everything was the sun. All the gods were hermaphrodite, male and female into one, all combined. So it's a mother goddess. The mother earth was also the father earth, and so forth. And these idiots don't understand that. But everything was organized, really organized, in the ancient civilization of Egypt. And with one man that decided to eliminate all the other gods, because everything was gods. All the things, the water was a god, everything was a god, the air, and all that equated to all these birds and animals and things that people don't understand. And then they thought they were all gods. They were their own gods for all that stuff. Well, Akhenaten, the man looks like me. Oh, I look like him. We have probably some genes in there, some from millennia ago. But he decided to make the sun god as the main god, and that's what all the monotheistic religions, so-called monotheistic, but they're not really monotheistic, they got their god from, which is the sun and the penis. The rays of the sun god are the penis of fertilizer, which also equate with hands that masturbate and make the god create, eject the semen. See, and a lot of people don't understand this, but this is what the god comes from. So the Osteens are very psychotic people, like all the Christians are theotarded, stuck in the 4th century. They're very ignorant. They don't understand where it comes from. But it's all the sun god, the god that we worship. And he is also equated with lions. Lions is a symbol of the god, of the sun god. And it's very amazing because you see that in the Bible in Psalm 104. That talks about the sun, the God that covers the earth with the mantle of light. Well, guess what? It's the sun. It's the rays of the sun. It will blind you. You see him. You look at him. You look at God. It will blind you. So here, enjoy it.
Sold as a myth. The Red Sea is simply too deep for a wind to divide its waters. Say the Hebrews crossed the Red Sea.
Sea of reeds.
Red is a mistranslation.
Yeah, see?
In the original Hebrew Bible, they crossed the Yam Suf, or Sea of Reeds. When the Bible was translated into Greek, the word Suf, meaning reed, was mistakenly rendered as red.
Sea of Reeds.
So when they came to translate this verse, they translated as Red Sea, and then to the English translations, and we've been stuck with it ever since.
See? All mistranslation.
Between the Gulf of Suez and the Mediterranean.
That's what happens. Everything, and they don't understand that Ramoses, that Moses is a short for Ramses.
Surrounded by reeds.
See? Son of the sun god Ra. Happens all over.
Even so, what kind of...
By the way, Americans Heroes channel is absolutely excellent. They don't bullshit or anything like that.
The cult of many gods. But in a flash of inspiration, some said madness, Akhenaten attacked polytheism, desecrating inscriptions and images of the old gods of Egypt. In its place, the heretic king promoted the worship of the sun as the one true God.
But the sun rays were equated with the penis. And also, as you can see, the hands that masturbated the god, that's the reason the penis ended up in hands, the sacred hands. And even the hat of Akhenaten is like uncircumcised penis rays.
It was the first ever recorded expression of monotheism. Akhenaten built a new capital city with special temples dedicated to the cult of the sun god.
Many religions that follow, including the so-called Abrahamic religions, copy this.
It's all taken and melted down.
Ideas that reach back into Egypt and have startling implications for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
Yeah, they all came from Egypt.
Metallurgist and engineer Robert Feather has raised eyebrows with his interpretation of the Copper Scroll, in the few Greek letters in the mostly Hebrew text.
In the Copper Scroll, there are 14 Greek letters interspersed in the Hebrew text. I took the first 10 letters and put them together, and eureka, they read Akhenaten,
exactly,
the name of an Egyptian pharaoh who lived around 1350 BC.
They all came from Akhenaten.
And it was one of those revelationary moments.
The revolutionary pharaoh Akhenaten created what has controversially been called the first monotheistic religion in the world.
Well, not really
lived at a time when some scholars estimate the Israelites lived in Egypt
exactly.
before the...
I must have some of his DNA because I sure look like him. But we all share a primate ancestor.
Hyksos, you have to look at the Old Testament to see that major characters in the Old Testament lived or fled from Egypt.
Exactly.
They absorbed this belief in one God.
They were merchants.
The evidence in the Copper Scroll itself, it's pretty self-evident. The clues about Egypt are there.
The evidence is right there.
Who wants to look at them?
Exactly, right there.
Of monotheism out of Egypt, the Egyptians could easily have brought the idea to them.
Oh, they were part of the whole thing.
Was a dominant world power for thousands of years, leading to the 1st century BC. And many of the scrolls were written.
And the so-called Jews
were the sea people that raided the coast of Egypt, defeated by Ramses III.
Egypt is the most dominant force in the whole of the Middle East.
Just like Rome would be.
It controls
1,000 years later.
The whole of the Levant, of the Holy Land, what is now Lebanon, right the way up to Assyria. It is the power and the most wealthy civilization in the world.
That surround the city, there is a hymn to the sun god, composed by the pharaoh himself. Sections of the hymn are remarkably like certain verses in the Bible's Psalm 104.
O living sun disk, thou art beautiful, great, glittering. O Lord my God, thou art very great. When thy movements fade, the land is in darkness. Every lion is out of his den. Darkness, and it is night. The young lions roar after their prey.
Moses was aware of Akhenaten and his ideas.
Moses is a title. Ramesses is Pharaoh.
Egypt reverted to the cult of many gods. And Akhenaten's name was desecrated and forgotten.
Exactly.
But the breakthrough from polytheism to monotheism had been made, and it could easily have happened again.
But they don't understand what God is. They say God. God is in apophiba, imaginary or for irrational belief acceptance. What is a true creator that makes us happy? Well, a true creator is our penis. It's a male penis, the organ of generation, that gives us orgasm. And orgasm makes people happy. And so we are created by a penis, by a spit of sperm, DNA, into the cave of creation of our mothers. And that's the way we come into existence. 9 months later, we are born, after all these mutations at DNA and genetic mutations, we are exit the cave of creation with a brain that is blank of information. No believing imaginary friend gods. if you accept them as true after you are educated, then you suffer from one of these schizophrenias, a neurological disorder of imaginary friend acceptance. Or in other words, IFOFIBA, imaginary friend or foe irrational belief acceptance, found at the core of all religions and the core of all neurological disorders like schizophrenia. And this is interesting.
And the greatest joy this morning. So I want you to know this morning, just do good for your own self.
This is true, but in this case, she is the God. And her conniving, Christ-psychotic infected husband, Joel Osteen, a Christ-psychotic infected imbecile, is reaping the benefits of ignorant people in America, giving millions and millions of dollars to these psychotic, schizophrenic imbeciles. Because with churches, the millions of churches in the United States of America, they corrupt the brain of children. They are disgusting. They induce racism, pedophilia, homophobia, immorality, anti-science, ignorance, readers of only one book, disgusting, immoral, theotarded imbeciles stuck in the 12th century. And this is the problem. And mentally healthy, in other words, atheists, intellectuals, and scientists do not see it. They don't define these imbeciles as for the psychotic,
religious,
schizophrenic, disgusting people that they are. Because they are nothing but evolved mutated primates like all of us are. We're all animals and we're related to all life forms on the planet by DNA. But these imbeciles don't study science because they're infected with ChristPsychosis, which stagnates the intellect. And the only life after death we'll get is nothing but bacteria eating our rotten remains. Really, it is true. Put a little camera after this moronic woman, disgusting, theotarded, imbecile, schizophrenic. When this woman dies, and she's 70, 80 years old or whatever, if she lasts that long, then they should put a camera in her casket and see what happened to her body. It's going to decompose, bacteria is taking over, and she'll be nothing after 100 years. A mummified corpse in there, rotten, just like with all this bacteria.
5,000-year-old Egyptian epigraphy doesn't lie. The penis was the creator God equated with the sun that satisfies, and it came to us and mutated into the Jesus Christ, into the many gods now worship. It is nothing but the phallus, our creator God. This was a Joel Osteen, the Christ-psychotic, doesn't understand.
You worship him, you're not doing it for God, really. You're doing it for yourself. Because that's what makes God happy. Amen.
That's what makes God happy. I would sing Pharrell right now, but it'll cost us more than we can afford to talk about this. There at Google Hangout, we have Rick Henderson, pastor of adult ministries at South Mountain Community Church. We have Steve Kemp, pastor of the Cross Church. Thank you both for being here. Rick, what do you make of the...
And this guy is clueless. He is clueless at Huffington Post. By Ariane Huffington, which is Greek. And she's born in a Christ-psychosis infected Greek family. Big psychosis time. Ariana Huffington is now she might not be a Christ-psychotic, but she's still remaining as a Christ-psychotic infected imbecile. She was born in this. Now, this idiot here doesn't understand. Religion is a mental illness. Believing God, what is God? God is a psychosis. It's like there are many strains of the psychosis. It's like God is like a tooth fairy, and the different sects in Christianity are like the different colors of tooth fairies. So he is getting some members of pastors with a Christ-psychotic, and they're going to all discuss about this Osteen Christ-psychotic infected woman. It's just like you ask a pastor that believes in the green tooth fairy, Protestant, Catholics, Baptists, Mormons, Methodists, all different colors of the same tooth fairy, but they don't agree with the tooth fairy. They believe that one believes that the green tooth fairy is the true one. The other one believes that the red tooth fairy is the actual true tooth fairy, the real tooth fairy. And the other says, no, it's the purple one. See? So they're all Christ-psychotics. And they don't agree with whatever the other ChristPsychosis says, because they're all tooth fairies. The green, the yellow, the red one, the purple one, the black one, and all these thousands of colors of tooth fairies. The thing that these idiots don't understand is that they are tooth fairies. They are tooth fairies. In other words, it's a psychosis. They're infections. They're expression of defective brains, like in schizophrenia. And these idiots, these imbeciles, don't understand it. That's the problem in the United States of America. Believing God is a mental illness. It's one of the schizophrenias. Organized schizophrenia. Christianity is that. It's a psychosis, just like Islam, like any other different tooth fairies or different colors. Keep in mind, we are product of coitus. We are product of coitus, our fathers and our mothers, and then we emerge after many mutations of the DNA. Genes, simple genes, there they are, science. We emerge from the cave of creation, our mothers, and then with a blank brain that begins to create thoughts during the imprinting period. And if you start in this 21st century, start believing and you're not a child, you're an educated adult, and you believe in you have hypophilia, imaginary friend or foe, irrational belief acceptance, you believe in gas and conspiracy theories and ancient aliens and all that, you are simply schizophrenic. You suffer from one of the schizophrenia. It's a neurological disorder of some begot belief, conspiracy theories and all that. Nothing based on facts and on reality, because your mind wanders in the schizophrenic world of fantasies, thoughts, make-believe of faith, psychosis. Then you're sick. Religious is organized as schizophrenia. Religious belief, believing God, faith is a psychosis. It's a neurological malfunction, disconnection. It's like a sensory gating deficits in the pulvinar nuclei in our brains, also cognitive dissonance. Keep it healthy, in other words, atheist. Pace Dion.